Hello and welcome to the first ever recording of I've Read It All, where I find interesting and funny Reddit posts and read them so you don't have to. I am your humble narrator. Today we have a post from OKBlueJ6415 who asks, "Am I the a-hole for telling a friend a baby is a bad idea?" My friend Judy, 38, still lives with her mom and dad. She has been with her partner Jim, 40, for about 10 years. Judy has never really held down a job. She has a mental health issue that makes her very difficult to work with and normally results in her being fired after a few months. I don't really get along with Jim. He loves to take drugs and party every weekend with some unsavory characters. His friends get into trouble and act loud and obnoxious, etc., and so I don't really go out with them because they get into situations a lot of the time. Jim calls me and the rest of Judy's friends boring and dull because we're all married with kids or have a full-time job. So going out and getting drunk really isn't on a list of priorities for us anymore. Jim is fairly controlling with Judy. The whole criticizing her friends is him trying to alienate her. She almost got an apartment for herself through a charity for disabled people, but Jim wouldn't let her take it because the location wasn't suitable for meeting his friends. He criticizes anything she attempts to do, like college or any job she applied for, and accuses Judy of thinking she's better than he is if she tries to do these. Now, I don't usually say much about the relationship when Judy complains, because whenever I've given advice about ending it, they become best friends in a few days and I'm suddenly the bad guy. Judy has suddenly got baby fever, though. She's realized she spent 10 years with the guy and her biological clock is ticking. She started speaking to me and our mutual friends about breaking up with Jim because of his boorish behavior and immaturity. But that's in the same day about how she decided to start trying for a baby with him because Jim said, "Yeah, whatever." I immediately told her that was a terrible idea. She was already on the rocks with Jim. There have been issues in the relationship at least one occasion, infidelity at least twice, and Jim is barely a functioning alcoholic. She told me I was a hypocrite because I have 2 kids and got a divorce, but I pointed out that's how I knew it was a mistake. She said if it didn't work out, she was just gonna dump Jim. I said she wouldn't be able to support a kid with no job as a single parent, and it wouldn't be fair on a kid bringing them into a relationship that's already bad. If she wants to be a single parent, fine, but I don't think she should be using Jim as a sperm donor when he doesn't even know what she's planning. She could use a sperm bank because our city has those. Judy's mom has also said that she would disown Judy if she got pregnant by him because it's a bad idea. So Judy was offended. Our mutual friends are split and say I was either right or I should have just kept quiet because it's none of our business. So am I the a-hole for being honest with Judy about how she shouldn't have kids even though it's her decision at the end of the day? I can definitely see how your friend group would be torn, as I'm sure what you said upset your friend. Although going off the information that we've been given, the relationship sounds like a toxic one. Definitely not one that should produce a child. I'm going to say that you're not the a-hole. The next post on our list comes from The Feeder TA, who asks, "Am I the a-hole for making a girl at the gym pay me $20 because she was mistaken about me taking creep shots of her?" I, a 35 male, was working out at the gym. While resting in between workouts, decided to play a mobile game. This mobile game lets you switch between landscape and portrait, but the only way to switch is to rotate it while the phone is upright. You can't switch it if your phone is facing the ceiling. Anyways, I'm playing and this 20-something girl comes up to me and is like, "Hey you." I lock my screen and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" She immediately grabs my phone and tells me to give her my lock screen passcode. I'm like, "No, give me my phone." She starts screeching about how I was taking creepy pictures of her and that I need to delete them. I'm telling her that I was just playing a mobile game and she must have seen me trying to rotate my screen. Sorry if it was pointed in her direction and stuff like that. She got the gym workers involved and tells them she wants me kicked out. The gym workers were great and were really nice to both of us. They asked me if I could just give them my passcode and they could check my phone as a third party. I asked the girl what she's going to give me if she's wrong. This is a pretty messed up allegation. She said, "You get to keep working out here and I'll maybe apologize." I tell her that's not good enough. I ask her if she has any cash or a Venmo or something. After some back and forth, she pulls out a 20, and I'm like, "Good, okay. If they unlock my phone and don't see any photos of you, I get to keep this $20? She agrees because she seems fairly sure of herself. Well, the guys end up unlocking my phone and see my mobile game is still on the screen. They then look through the photos from the day and don't see any of her. So I'm like, "Cool," and grab my phone and my money. She starts going off about how I probably hid them or something. Now my girlfriend, who came over 2/3 into this whole ordeal, Says I could have just unlocked my phone for her and not embarrassed the girl. I said it was the principle of the matter. My girlfriend says this girl is probably going to think twice about calling people out in the future, and one of them may be the real deal. I told her that that's not my problem. She can't just embarrass people in a public setting like this and expect to get away with it. The next post on our list comes from AITA underscore AAAA0, who asks, am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out of my house and exposing her to the whole family? My, a 26 female, sister, a 35 female, lost her home due to her husband's gambling. They practically lost everything. Our parents had always preferred my sister way more. She's the perfect child, perfect husband, perfect house, perfect career. She's a doctor. And thus she came to me for help. She cried and begged to please let her stay with me, to not tell anything to our parents until she was divorced. I did, because I know how mean they can be. My boyfriend and I own a 2-bedroom apartment. The guest room, that's rather small, and our room that's a lot bigger and has an en-suite bathroom with a bathtub. This is important. My boyfriend is currently staying with his parents in Texas, so I have the whole house to myself. We talked about it, and we agreed to let my sister use the guest room and pay minimum rent for a few months. Everything was fine at first until a few weeks ago when we had some problems with the bathroom my sister uses, and she had to use mine. When she found out I had a bathtub, she was thrilled. She asked why I didn't say anything before, and I told her because it was my personal bathroom and I didn't have to. The problem got fixed in 2 days, but every once in a while she would ask me to use my bathtub. I said yes a few times until she just stopped asking and began to go in my bath every time she wanted. She even tried to leave her products there until one day I found her sleeping in my bed. I woke her up and told her to get out, but she said that it wasn't her fault that I had the better room with a better bath and everything, that she was a doctor and deserved the room way more, and the best thing was for me to move to the small room and let her have the bigger one. I was mad. I couldn't believe that she was in my house trying to rule me. I told her that this wasn't just my house, but my boyfriend's too, and that she had to get her things and leave. She said I was overreacting, and I told her that yeah, sure, but I know how these things usually are and I don't plan to have it her way. She said that she didn't have anywhere else to go, and I told her, too bad. She had to come clean to our parents and is currently staying there. They're mad at me for kicking her out, and forcing her to embarrass herself in front of them, and that I owe her my house for free as long as she wants. In my opinion, OP, you are well within your right to kick her out. She sounds super entitled and doesn't seem to think much of you or your husband. I'm going to give your parents the benefit of the doubt, as I don't know what she told them, and can only assume she cherry-picked details on this one. And I mean, it's not like she was out on the street. The option of going to your parents' house was very much on the table once she swallowed her pride. I'm going to say not the a-hole. So there you have it. 3 stories of potential a-holes. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on some of these situations, as they definitely need to be handled delicately. If you enjoyed the video, or just the sound of my voice in general, please consider liking the video and following my channel for more stories and narration. I really appreciate all the support. If you have any certain subreddits you'd like me to read from, please suggest them in the comments, as that's what I'm here for. Until we meet again, thanks for listening.